All right, let's dive into a philosophy that is so simple, but so powerful, it could completely change how you think about your job, your career, and your life. I mean it. This is an idea that has literally transformed lives, and it all boils down to one big question. Where are you putting your hard work? Let's get into it.
So, we all know we have to work hard, right? That's a given. But what are we actually working for? This is where it gets interesting. Our source material frames this as a huge choice, like a fork in the road for your whole career. On one path, you're working hard just to make a living. On the other, you're working to build a fortune. And here's the kicker. They are not the same thing. They take two totally different kinds of effort.
And this is that huge distinction, laid out plain and simple. Look, working hard at your job, that's absolutely essential. It pays the bills, keeps the lights on, you make a living. And there is nothing wrong with that. It's fine. But there's another level. The whole idea here is that if you learn to work hard on yourself, that's how you make a fortune. To put it another way, your job pays the bills, but working on you, that's what builds the real wealth.
Now, you might think this is just some clever little saying, but it's way more than that. For the guy in our source material, this was a genuine aha moment. It hit him when he was 25. He was busting his tail, working super hard, but nothing was really changing for him. He was stuck. And then someone shared this philosophy with him, he shifted his focus, and boom, everything changed.
And the key to this whole thing wasn't some complicated 10-point business plan. Nope, it was just one simple phrase, a single piece of advice. It's so simple, you might almost miss how powerful it is. You ready to hear it?
Here it is. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Just let that sink in for a second. That right there, that's the engine driving this entire idea. It's a call to action. It's telling you to invest in your number one asset, which is you. Because think about it, when you get better, your ability to earn, to achieve, to do anything, it all grows right along with you, exponentially. Okay, so once you grasp that, it leads to a totally different way of looking at success. I mean, we're always told to chase your dreams, right? Go after success. But this philosophy, it just flips that whole script. What if chasing after success is actually the worst way to get it?
So here's the new definition. Success is not something you pursue. It's something you attract by the person you become. And we're not talking about looks here. We're talking about becoming attractive in terms of your skills, your value, your character. When you become that kind of person, the cool stuff, the opportunities, the money, the success, it just naturally starts flowing to you.
And it's a pretty simple process when you break it down. Step 1, you just start working hard on yourself. Step 2, because of that work, you become more valuable, more skilled, more capable. And then step 3 just kind of happens. Success and opportunities are drawn to that new value you have. You basically turn yourself into a magnet for the good stuff.
Okay, great. The theory makes sense, right? But how do you actually do it? What does working on yourself even mean in practice? Well, you can think of it like this. You're enrolling in a new school, and the only subject is you. So, let's take a look at the curriculum.
This quote just nails it. You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. See, the limits on what you can get are tied to the limits of who you currently are. But the second you start expanding yourself, your skills, your knowledge, your mindset, that ceiling on which you can achieve just starts to lift higher and higher. Here's a really simple way to think about it. Your income, it's pretty much a mirror reflecting your value to the world, to the marketplace. So if you want to make more money, you don't just work longer hours. That's a trap. Instead, you multiply your value. Imagine you become 3 times more valuable, 5 times more valuable, even 10 times more valuable. Well, your income can follow that exact same path. It's a direct link.
So what's on this curriculum? What do you actually study? Well, you've got the practical stuff, right? Learning new skills, maybe picking up another language to connect with more people. But it goes way deeper than that. It's about working on your personality, your temperament, becoming the kind of person people genuinely want to be around. It's about building a stronger mindset, and maybe most important of all, mastering communication. And I don't just mean talking. I mean really listening and truly connecting with people.
Okay, this all sounds amazing, right? But there's a catch. And it's a big one. This will be the absolute hardest work you ever do. And you want to know why? Because the biggest thing standing in your way isn't your boss, it's not the economy, it's not some competitor. The biggest challenge is you.
You know, the stuff we do for our jobs out in the world, that's actually the easy part. The real battle, the real challenge, is the one that happens inside. It's that feeling when you know you should learn something new, but you just don't feel like it. It's finally facing those bad habits, those self-doubts, and that comfy little comfort zone that's holding you back. That is the real.
And to kind of put those external challenges into perspective, there's this great little story from the source material. The speaker's mentor told him, there are only about a dozen really nasty, miserable people in the entire world. The punchline? They just move around a lot, so you're going to run into them. The point is, the external stuff, it's not really the main event. The real frontier, the place where all the growth happens, is inside you.
So what's the goal of all this? What's the end game? It's to become a truly skillful, powerful, and communicative person. I mean, to really master your craft, to own your abilities, and to connect with people effortlessly. Because when you become that person, trust me, the world just opens up for you in ways you can't even imagine right now.
And that brings us right back to where we started, that fork in the road. You've got a choice. You can keep working hard on your job, and that's fine, you'll make a living. Or you can decide to work even harder on yourself and build a fortune. So if it's true that the world belongs to the skillful and the valuable, the only real question left is, who are you going to become?